So anyways, what I could do and could have done at the time, if I known that, is I would have just jacked up the wheel, as I have done on my trailer, with the tools that I carry with me at all times. I'd jack it up, loosen up the axle nut, slacken the adjusting snails on both sides, get some slack in the chain, rotate the wheel, and with my finger, just kind of realign the chain so it rides up over the next sprocket. So what I would have been able to do, if I knew what went wrong, is I would have been able to quickly just jack up the bike, loosen the rear wheel, rotate the rear wheel, put it back up on the original secure sprocket that's actually splined to the primary shaft, and I would have been on my way. Now there is something of an unknown. Even though it seems like all the tension pins are in place, and both the screws are in place, they are just sheared. So it doesn't appear that anything is really capable of floating in rubbing against something and causing some damage. But it really, at this point, is kind of a moot point, and likely wouldn't have been worth the uncertainty of creating a bigger problem than I had already been dealing with. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait till I get it home, and then take the side cover off, remove the sprockets, see actually how it broke, and see if the screws had broke some time ago. And then maybe what I will do is when I reinstall it, instead of using 2 bolts to squeeze it together and keep the tension pins engaged in both sprockets, I'll use 4 bolts and only 2 tension pins. That's my thought anyways, or maybe I'll just kind of go back to doing things like regular people do, and because since I've done this, I've only changed it over once, or twice maybe. Right now it probably has approximately 2,000 miles on the combination, and if I continue with it, what I would be inclined to do is, since I ride a 55-14 all the time, oddly, I'm not sure that I used any logic, the sister sprocket is the 14, so I am always riding the most vulnerable, I'm going to say, connection point on my drivetrain. Instead of running the outermost sprocket, which is the original, the stock, designed by Mr. Hiroshuki himself. And I think actually he signed that primary sprocket for me because we met at a Starbucks. Or actually, I think it was one of the great Jamba Juices that I frequently visit for their high quality and healthy beverages. I had the TW parked outside, and he came. He had a hell of a time trying to reach in there with his pen, but he did it, and he signed it, Shiriko Hakatsuki or something. Yeah, that was it. So anyways, there's kind of my predicament that I created by thinking too far outside of the box, but I'm going to make it right, and hopefully these guys will invite me on another ride. So, kind of a backup shot of Mr. Gizmo's, this great bike. I mean, what else could go wrong? Every so once in a while, Mr. Gizmo's breakaway shift lever kind of breaks away when I lift my foot off of it, and then I have to pull off to the side of the road to figure out how I can get it back so I can shift. But I still go. That isn't a go, no-go thing. It's kind of a go, sometimes fiddling around and not looking at the road. Now there's my Tri-Z forks, and as you can see, I moved the brakes around a bit, so I'm just kind of waiting for that to fall into the spokes and, see if I can continue to go on my adventure that way. But the reason I do what I do is I was really inspired by Orville and Wilbur Wright, the guys that flew, and I think they lived to be older guys. And since I'm an older guy already, it's like, what the hell? Easy come, easy go, I guess. So, here we go. This guy, he's inspired me a lot, and actually I saw a couple of lizards last week, and that was an inspiration for me to go on the road, or on the ride, and we're going to leave something behind to remember us with. There, gentleman asked me about coolers and do they really work, and indeed they do. They work great, and I've got one of them. So the bike, in all its glory, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch the chain over, hook it back up so it'll work, just so I can show the guys when I get over to Joe's house tonight for spaghetti dinner. Gizmo still has what it takes. So, signing off. TW, here's the